So let's talk about some trends that I see in this whole capital food chain. The first is this trend. And in 1994, there may in the U.S. have been 5 to 10 angel groups, and in the world, less than 20. Angels were under the radar. They never worked together in organized networks. They had small personal networks that they invested with. And a couple of clever angels figured out that they might be able to do this faster, better, and cheaper by banding together in groups. Well, you can see it worked. An explosion of angel groups from maybe 20 worldwide 15 years ago to over 1,000 worldwide today. This is a huge change in the environment. And let me tell you, one of the unintended outcomes. We didn't do this. We did this so we could do better deals, so that we could couple our combined resources to do better due diligence, pick better investments, and help companies grow faster. One of the unintended outcomes was that suddenly we were easy to find. Angels been operating under the radar, hiding from entrepreneurs for several hundred years. They simply do not want to go home from every networking event with a stack of business plans to read. So you would never, in the early 90s, have seen Bill Payne, angel investor, on my badge. Never. Didn't want people to know I was an angel investor. I wanted to find deals from my mates or from service providers, somebody who'd already looked the deal over. So suddenly now, angel groups have websites. If you are an entrepreneur and you can't find an angel in virtually any community in the world, then you're not worth investing in, because all you have to do is search Auckland Angels and the Ice House will pop up. Or Las Vegas Angels and the Vegas Valley Angels will pop up. Or the New York Angels and the New York Angels will pop up. We're easy to find. That's a big difference than 15 years ago, where it was impossible to find angels. What's going on in New Zealand? Well, wow, we just saw a survey that came out last year. Angel groups in New Zealand, there are 16 of them, invested in something like 63 companies. They invested something like $50 million. And they invested in just the kind of stage of development you expect. 80% of the investments or so were at the seed and startup stage. And I told you that the VC market's a little troubled, so we're tending to split our money between first round and follow-on round. That's a little different than it might have been a few years ago. The trend is the same in the U.S. But I wanted to find out where 63 deals and $50 million for a population of 4 million people might compare to other places in the world. So it's really hard to get good data, because in the U.S., very few places measure angel investment. But I do have a few friends, one who runs a network in Oklahoma. Hey, guess what the population of Oklahoma is? Yeah, about 4 million. And another friend who runs a statewide network of angel groups in Wisconsin. Hey, guess what the population of Wisconsin is? About 5 million. And I've got a pretty good friend who runs a group in Boston, but is very familiar with the landscape in Boston. And I think there are about 15 angel groups in Boston. Guess what? Those 15 angel groups in Boston, which has a metropolitan population of about 4 million people, invested in about the same number of companies and about the same number of deals as you did here in New Zealand. That's good news. So the angel investing environment in New Zealand is pretty solid. I was going to tell you a little bit more about Wisconsin. They started a nationwide effort at starting angel groups. They had 2 about 5 years ago. Now they have 22. And this is what they have done as far as by promoting angel groups in the state of Wisconsin. They've grown from almost no angel investment up to 53 deals and $15 million. Now it's about the same number of deals, but a lot less money than is being invested here in New Zealand. So again, a relatively fair comparison in that they're still funding a lot of companies. 53 deals in 2008, incidentally, versus 63 deals here in 2009. So the summary I might have of the sort of growth of angel groups in the U.S. and in New Zealand is that, wow, it's impressive stuff. We must be doing something right. And I'm very impressed with the data that was recently published on angel investing here in New Zealand. Now let me talk a little bit about venture capital because I did mention that the model is troubled. Look at the number, what's happened to the number of angel groups in the U.S. since 2006. In only 3 years, we've lost almost 250 venture capital firms. And I can show you exactly why. This is a lot of data on this chart. But if you add up, and let me tell you what the bars represent. And that is, the blue bars represent VC investment, and the yellow bars represent returns to limited partners, the investors. If you add up all the investments since 1996, it's $420 billion. If you add up all the returns, it's $272 billion. Only in 2 years, 96 and 97, did distributions exceed investment. Now, how's that for performance as a group? If you were running an endowment for the Ford Foundation, would you be throwing a lot of money at venture capital? I think the answer is probably no. And that's exactly what the CalPERS people and the University of Texas endowment have chosen to do. They're not funding many venture capital firms any longer. So the venture capital model is a bit broken. The model has problems, and new venture capital is having troubles raising new funds. And as I travel around Europe, Australia, New Zealand, the U.S., I'm hearing the same story. The trends, these two trends, the growth in angel groups and the troubled model for venture capital is true in virtually all markets that I can see. So the conclusions that I could make from this are that those that I just actually expressed to you, that angels are doing well, entrepreneurs are finding angels and getting funded, and the venture capital model is broken. I must add that unlike the U.S., where I see little or no action on fixing the venture capital model, I think there is a lot of thought going on in New Zealand as to what we can do about fixing a broken model in a small market. That may actually be an advantage to Kiwis in fixing the venture capital model. So the outcome is it's a lot easier to find angel money than it used to be, and it's a lot harder to find venture capital. So the clear future, for at least the short term, for both angels and entrepreneurs is if you need a lot of money to go where you're going, plug into a VC before you ever put the first penny in the deal. If you can't find a VC that is interested in your space, then maybe you better not start the company or fund the company.